Aleph. It's a Sider Esamaracha Gedaila Mizracha. My Gemara, there's a little dalet there. No, it's on Chavtes.
Yeah.
Aleph. It's in the middle of the Mishnah, Sider. So we're talking about setting up which wood you're allowed to use. That was the last thing we spoke about. Which wood is acceptable for the maracha. Maracha is the pyre or fire. And they set up the east one because there were other marachas on the mizbeach. There wasn't just one fire, and the fire wasn't in the center; it was on the side. So this would be the east. This is east.
Right. The
ramp, that's the west, right? So the ramp would be going down to the south. You'd walk up the ramp this way. The mizbeach was here. On that side was the heichal and the kodesh hakadashim. If you went on the east side of the mizbeach, would be the fire that he's arranging now. In the center of the mizbeach is a tapuach. And we'll see on the other side is going to be another fire that's going to be used for the keteros. The chazisa mizracha. The chazisa, there was sort of like a window. The first Yisrael it describes how they would set it up. They would put a slab to here and a slab here, and then they would build on top. With a slab this way, a slab that way, and then on top they build it up. But there needed to be an open window for the air to blow through to make the fire. What's the word? To make it larger. Okay, Veroshe Gezirin Aprimim Hayanagim Betapuach. There were little twigs that were inside. The smaller wood would extend from the fire, from the pyre, into the center where you had the ashes, the tapuach. There was space between the slabs of wood. Alisa, that they would light. Alisa would be like the small wood that would burn, little twigs that would burn to get the larger logs. Kindling wood. That's what I thought. Misham. No, Matzismas Alisa. That's where it ends. Matzismas Alisa. Yeah. No, Matzismas Alisa Misham. Interesting. When they said before Ratzi Shemen, I thought they were talking about there's something that they called fat wood. You know, fat wood, it's the inside of the pine. You touch it, you almost feel the oil on it, but it lights up like right away. But anyway, okay, we didn't have the exact word for Atzi Shemen.
Okay, here, we're on. Okay,
thank you.
Morning.
Okay.
Good morning.
Morning, Rabbi.
Okay, put yourself on.
We're on Chavtes 29. We're almost finished the Mishnah. Bir mishamatzi tena yachim. They chose good fig wood. Now we gave options of what type of wood you can use before. We said fig or walnut or eitz shemen, and now we're only using one example. But the Taisus Yamtiv says that it's just 1 out of 3. It could have been another. They chose an example. I'm sorry.
Yamtiv is which Yoma.
No, Mesechtes Yamtiv is Beya, but the Taisus Yamtiv is a commentary. Taisus Yamtiv is a commentary.
Was there a family that always brought wood?
Yes. Where was that? That was in Yuma. Was that in Yuma? Where was that from? Okay.
The Hebrew, it's definitely walnut.
Okay, walnut I have here. That's the egois, but I don't know what the oil wood is.
Okay. There's on a translation that just says nut tree.
Oh, it could be it's a nut tree. Just nut. Then he arranges the second maracha for keteris keneged maravis zreimus That's going to be on the southwest. So here's the Mizbeach. We said here's the ramp coming down the parking lot. There's the ramp. Up here is the Mizbeach. Southwest is this way. That corner here. So they arranged the second pyre on the southwest corner. However, it's Mashach Menachem Klapitzof and Arba Amis. It's not all the way in the southwest. It's moved up this way towards the north 4 Amis. The reason for that is because it says that they take the coals from in front of Hashem, Lifnei Hashem, and if the doorway to the Heichal was over here, if they moved it up 4 Amos, it would be centered to the doorway. It would be in front of the doorway.
It says over here that they used this fig tree wood because this type of wood, when it was burned, it would become coals rather than ashes.
What's saying is that
It should
Oh,
have
isn't
been
that
lower.
interesting?
right where this
Yeah.
line is, so this is slightly off.
So I mean that the Mizbeach should have been lower on the base of this
So
picture.
this back would have been
Right, okay. So here it's showing that the Mizbeach a little bit too high then.
This
If
is
this is
showing it
that
a little too
line.
high, yeah.
So the Mizbeach should be lower, right?
Yeah.
Based on what you
But
just
it
now
looks
said.
like there's a they're making that line on purpose.
So then what is this? So this Dal Amos probably, I don't know.
Well, how many wood piles were
Maybe
they
they're
trying
asking a question. Maybe they're asking it. Okay.
How many wood piles were there?
3.
There were 3, but we just learned about 2 so far. This would give us, in estimation, 5 sa of coals. And on Shabbos, there would be 8 sa of coals. And the reason is, because on Shabbos you needed to burn more things there, which were the 2 spoonfuls of levina, of the frankincense that were on the table. That was the lechem apanim, the showbread. So they needed more coals. What about the limbs and the fats that we mentioned, that they were not burnt up from yesterday's karbanos? So it says, they would return them to the fire. It's a big discussion here. Doesn't mean that they returned it to the fire before they brought the carbon tamid, which is the way the Mishnah sounds, or it doesn't mean that they returned it to the fire after the carbon tamid was brought, and it's just saying that we mentioned that the fats that were not burnt, we put them on the side, on the ramp or whatever, and they were put back on after this, but it's really after the carbon tamid was brought. That's a possibility. Right? They lit both of the pyres on fire, and Yardu, they came down, Ubalam Lishkas Agazis, and they went to the Lishkas Agazis to do the other lotteries to see who's going to do what for the sacrifice for the carbon tamid. Amar Rava. Rava says Guzma. Rava says that we learned yesterday, we learned in the Mishnah that the Mishnah.
Guzma, is that the only time his name is used? Because
1 second.
Guzma is exaggerator.
Yeah.
What?
So Rava says that the Mishnah that discussed that the tapuach was 300 kor, and everyone went, wow, that's a lot. So Rava says, Guzma, that's an exaggeration.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Now, Hishkwas Tamid B'Kaishel Zav, we have another Mishnah that says that the carbon tamid, we'll have it tomorrow, I think. The carbon tamid was shechted. Before it was shechted, they gave it to drink water. Apparently, that was better to made it easier to skin it afterwards if it had that water before it was shechted. But what type of utensil was used to serve the carbon tamid water? It says in a golden utensil. So, Rava Guzma, Rava says that's an exaggeration. They wouldn't serve an animal to drink in a golden utensil. Amar Rabami. Rabami says, Dibra Torah Lashon Havai, Dibra Nevi'im Lashon Havai, Dibra Chum Lashon Havai. Rabami says that the Torah exaggerates, the prophets exaggerate,
Right.
and the sages exaggerate.
And here we're doing all of this stuff because it's exaggeration.
I'll move into one page.
It doesn't say that they exaggerated. Here it says that they employed exaggerated language.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
A little bit easier.
It's Lashon Havai.
Yeah.
They've used the not
It's used to
precise.
make the point.
Right. I saw in the Maral. The Maral explains that that the Torah in the heavens, the Torah that we have down here is also in Shemayim. There's also
A copy.
yeah. There's also it's the same Torah, but over there everything is on a much larger scale. So down here, it's just like the Alter Rebbe writes at the end of Begeres HaTshuva with the movement of the sun. The sun can move thousands of miles, and over here it just moves a few inches on the sundial. So when it says over here that it's exaggerated, it means it's exaggerated for us.
Depends where.
For us down here, it appears to be exaggerations, but there's that's the correct size as the Torah is in heaven. So, okay, let's go through each one of these. It says, Dibra Torah Lashon Havai. The Torah speaks in this exaggerated language. The Ksiv, Arim, Gedolas, Betzuris, Bashamayim. The cities are big and fortifications to the heavens. Bashamayim Sal Kadaitach. Did it really go up to the heavens? This is the spies returning, talking about the land of Israel. They said, did it go up to the heavens? Ella Guzma. There's an exaggeration there. Dibru Chachamim Lashon Havai. The sages speak in exaggerated language. That's Hadei Amran. That's what we said. Tapuach v'hishkos Tamid Daf. Zav. Those two. Dibru Nevi'im Lashon Havai. What's in the prophets? The Ksiv. This is when Shlomo Melech is being anointed, because if you remember, Adonio, his brother, was trying to make himself king. So David sends the people down to anoint Shlomo. And it says a big crowd of people gathered. It says, V'chol am haaretz mechalim b'chalilim v'tibak haaretz l'kolam. All the people were on their harps, the great rejoicing, and the earth split to their voice, to their sounds. That means like it was like an earthquake just from the people.
More like Torah.
Yeah. Over there, though, they got swallowed. Here, it was just from the sound. So it says this is an exaggeration. Amar Rab Yanai bar Nachmeni. This is probably supposed to be corrected. Amar Rab Shmuel bar Nachmeni. And the Shmuel is probably supposed to be before. There's 3 places where the sages spoke in exaggeration. Ve'elohein. And these are them. Tapuach, Gefen, Upareichas. The pile of ashes on the Mizbeach. The Geffen, which we'll discuss soon, and the Pareichas, which we'll discuss soon. And what is this point? Lafuke midirava. This is excluding from what Rava says. Why? Rava said no, they would not serve an animal out of a golden cup. Kamash Malan is coming to teach us Hani and Hasam Lai. He doesn't agree with that. He says no, they would serve the animal from a golden cup. It's not an exaggeration. Why? Because you don't show any poverty in a place of wealth. Tapuach Adi Amran. Tapuach that we spoke about. 30 cord. Geffen. What about the
Money tree. We don't have a money tree.
the money tree, right? What about this grapevine? The Tanya was taught in a brisa. It's supposed to be a brisa. I have the Tanan.
Midos 3:8.
It's corrected.
Oh.
It says the Tanya. Tanya means a brisa, but they corrected in the Meseres Hashas. In the Meseres Hashas, there's these brackets. That's Rabbi Shaya Pick, Shaya Berlin. He has some corrections here. So he says it's a Mishnah. It says, Gefen Zov Haisei Medes al Pesach HaHeichal. There was a golden vine that was on top of the doorway of the Heichal. Mudla al Gabi Kleinseis. It was hanging on these hooks. Chol Mishem Esnadev Allah. Anyone that would donate a leaf, a garger, or a grape, a eshkol, or a cluster, maybe V'taylabo would put on this, would hang, it was a golden grapevine, and you could donate a leaf. It sounds like, the way dedications with names on it. I don't think there were names. But this is a way of dedicating something.
Or Moshe McCartney, like get a leaf made.
Rabbi Elazar Bar Tzadok, who happened to be there as well, because Rabbi Tzadok was his father was Rabbi Tzadok, and his father was the one that fasted so that the temple shouldn't be destroyed for 40 years. Rabbi Elazar Bar Tzadok, his son, he says, it took 300 kayanim to move this. He says that's an exaggeration. It means it was heavy.
Before it said that they were really strong.
The kayanim were strong?
Yeah, before this.
Oh, so so they were saying that it didn't really take 300. It took a lot. Pareiches, what's with the Pareiches? The Tanana was taught in the Mishnah. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, Mishum Reb Shimon. It's either Reb Shimon Askan or Reb Shimon ben Askan. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel said in the name of Reb Shimon, who was the deputy high priest. He spoke about what was going on in the Bais Hamikdash. It says Pareiches, the curtain that was in between the holies and the holy of holies, of Yatefach, it was 1 tefach thick. Al Shivim Vishnayim Nimin Nereges. It was woven on 72 threads. Bal Kol Nima V'Nima Esrim V'Arba Chutim. Each thread was made up of 24 threads. 72 strands. Each strand was made up of 24 threads. Orka Arboim Amma. Its length was 40 amas. Vrach V'Esrim Amma, and it was wide 20 amas. Mishmainim V'Shtayim Ribai Nasis. Okay, now Shmainim V'Shtayim Ribai, it was made by 82,000 girls would be involved in the weaving. 80 Ribai is 10,000. 820,000 girls were doing the weaving. 820,000. That's the exaggeration part. And they would make 2 every year. And it took 300 kayanim to toivel it. Actually, the commentaries say that the 300 kayanim is the exaggeration. There is one commentary say that when it says 820,000, that's referring to how much it cost.
Yeah. The English says gold dinars.
Gold dinars, 820,000.
They were counting feet and hands.
Is that about 20 hours?
Does this mean we count our women as gold dinars?
Yeah, a sukkah can't be 20 amas. So 20 amas.
But wouldn't a guzma be when it says bashamayim? So when it's like just an exaggeration of a concept, when you're starting to put a number. There was 300 kohanim. So you say maybe give or take, 10. But when it was only 15, and you say it was 300,
right?
You're putting a specific number. I mean, it's not a. So it's a guzma.
Well, we have expressions for. We say like, oh, it's $1 million. So we don't mean $1 million. I mean, it's like we use the term a million for.
But that's
they use 300 as a huge.
360.
No, they use 300, 500. They use these as the big number.
Who's the terminology of the day, Bais?
Okay.
Like if a person says, my foot's killing me, it's not really killing him.
Right.
Just trying to
talk to my
convey
foot.
the...
Yeah, talk to my foot.
So...
You're saying it's a great amount of pain.
It was 40 amas by 20 amas. So 40, right? That's what we said, 40 amas by 20. So every amma is about 1.5 feet. So it'd be like 60 feet by 30 feet. Now,
About 3 floors. And then that's 2 floors and a half.
usually a floor is about in between 10 and 12 a story, 10, 12 feet per story. It's more than that. It's 5, 6. It's 5 stories.
Okay, 60, okay, 20.
How much is
So
She was 1.5.
yeah, we were talking about the temple. The second temple had 2 rooms, the holies and the holy of holies. They didn't have a wall in the center. They had a curtain, and they had actually 2 curtains. And it was like folded up, one on each side, so that you couldn't actually see through the curtains. It was one side was folded, and the other side was you could walk in between to get through to the holy of holies. You see the 2 curtains there, yeah. So those curtains.
Which are
over
the
there.
2? I see one.
No, if you look carefully, you'll see this too.
I see.
Where? I can't see.
There's 2 lines.
Where's it?
Finger here. Hold on. There are 2 curtains here. See that?
Okay.
2 red ones.
The following Gemara, it's a very interesting Gemara regarding the wood and the fruit trees. It says, what type of wood would they use? They said, they would set up the wood. They bring up the wood to set up the fire. The only wood that they wouldn't use was olive wood, grape wood. Was there one more? No. Olive wood and grape wood. Gemara says, honey my time. It's probably honey my time alloy.
Why does it say the chula if the chula there is no more?
Yeah, that's in brackets. I don't know. Honey my time alloy. Why didn't they use these? Am I correct in saying? Yeah. Rav Papa Mishum de Katri. Papa says because it's a difficult word for me to translate because Katri means that there's a knot in it, but Katri in Aramaic means that it's smoke. Well, in Hebrew, katiras is smoke,
right?
But it also means a kesher. B'chad katirnis katana. In the Zohar, right? With one
the
bar
Farsh says that has kshurim.
Shalas miskashim.
It was a knot that would retain moisture.
So, yeah, because in the Aramaic, ketri means a knot, but it also means smoke in Hebrew. So I think what it means, it's a knot that gives off smoke. The moisture is the smoke would go out in the moisture.
Yeah.
So Rav Papa says they didn't use this wood because it has a knot and it would have moisture and give off smoke. Rav Acha Bar Yaakov says, it's because of the development of the land of Israel. Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, it's a mitzvah to settle the land of Israel. You don't want to take away such important things.
Cash crops.
Right, which is the wine and the oil, grapes and olives. Meisvei, the Gemara has a question. It's rather a long question. They would put it on the wood that was on the fire. That's wood. That's, they translate nituchim. That they burn quickly. It becomes fire. My Neil, what type of wood is that? Dukri shpud. These are spits. Very thin spits that burn quickly. They're like katri. They don't smoke. Va'azli miktar mitoichai. And the smoke goes from inside of them. Maybe it means there's no knots inside of them. Because it's young. That's what it means. It's young. It doesn't have any knots yet. The Gemara says, well, we're not finished with the question. It's like a long quotation here. Then at the end we'll have the question. Is all the wood kosher? Hein, kol eitzim ksherim chutz mishel zayis begefen. all the wood is kosher except for olive and grapevines. And like we explained yesterday how the Mishnah works, that it asks it as a question and then gives an answer. But this was more common, with wood from a fig tree, like we said in the Mishnah. Rabbi Lezer Meisav Afshal Mayish, V'shel Alain, V'shel Dekel, V'shel Charuv, V'shel Shikma. Okay, help me with the English. Rabbi Lezer adds. Do you have a translation for Mayish?
Says the wood of hackberry tree,
okay,
of oak, of the palm tree, of the carob tree, and of the sycamore.
Okay, so Alain was oak, palm, carob, and sycamore that I'm familiar with, but the Mayish I'm not familiar with. What was the word? Hackberry?
Yeah,
hackberry.
Hackberry, oak, palm,
What's a
carob,
hackberry?
and sycamore.
Okay. Now the Gemara goes back to discuss what the issue is here. We can understand what's going on if your issue is that some wood has these knots in the wood and therefore it retains water and it smokes. So, and this is the machlekes. The Mar Savar, one of them holds that even though there's no knots on the outside, but but since there's knots on the inside, we don't bring this type of wood. So, Rabbi Lezer held that you don't bring, Rabbi Lezer is saying that you don't bring from the Mayish, Alain, Dekel, Charuv, and Shikma. And why not? Because he says, because there's knots on the inside. Umar Savar, but the Tanakama holds. You're allowed to bring from those woods. There's no knots on the outside. Since there's no knots on the inside. Even though there's knots on the outside, my sinan.
What's migvoi? What's migbroi?
Bar means outside. Gav means inside.
Mm-hmm.
So the loy katri migavoi. There's no knots on the inside.
Even though there are knots on the outside.
Even the katri mibroi loy, but the knots on the outside
don't affect
is,
maybe
that's Rabbi Lezer's opinion. And the Chachamim say that we're not concerned about the knots on the outside. We're concerned about the knots on the inside. I guess how much water it absorbs or whatever. But here's our problem. This was like a nice long question. Our question is, we started off with two reasons why we don't bring olive wood and grapevine. One was Rav Papa's reason, because of the knots. The other one was Rabbi Bar Yaakov. According to Rabbi Bar Yaakov, that it's Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, the Tanakama said that you're allowed to bring from a palm tree. What's a palm tree? Dates.
Cash crop.
So, Dekel milespe mishum Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. If they said that you can't bring from grape and olive, why they say you're allowed to bring from dates?
How many types of palm trees are there?
That's a good question. But a regular palm tree was a date palm in Israel.
Okay, so that's probably the answer.
A malach, in response to this question, the Gemara says back, according to you, what about the fig that you said that was what was common to bring from? How are you going to answer that question? We're talking about a fig tree that doesn't have fruits.
What, out of season, or portrait a tree
doesn't have fruits? How do you have a tree that doesn't have fruits? A fig tree that doesn't listen to this?
Standing in my yard.
What is bad?
So dekel nami b'delayavida pear. We're talking about once we answered that the fig tree doesn't have fruits.
Yeah, that's
so the palm tree also doesn't have fruits. The Gemara says 1 second. Is there such a thing as a fig tree that doesn't have fruits? The Gemara says yes there is. Kiderachba, like Rachba says. Dama Rachba. Rachba says, Maisi te'eni chivarta. This is genetic engineering here. This is like really unique. You take a white fig. It's probably of inferior quality. V'shayfilu b'chavla. You rub it with a rope. The tzabsa. The chavla the tzabsa. It's I don't know what tzabsa is.
It says the rope is made of palm fronds.
Oh yeah.
Substance of bark.
So it rubs it.
There's different commentaries what it is. The sarichalei.
It's like sandpaper almost.
Yes, the sarichalei bizra, and the seed fall. Somehow it affects something in the seeds, and after that, the kabri hechad the masik yama sirtain, you plant it in the place where that's near the seabed. Sounds like sirtain. What is sirtain? It sounds like crabs. No?
Sediment.
The sea emits deposits of sediment, sirtan.
Uh-huh.
A tree in this planted in this manner produces wood that is suitable for a beam, but does not produce fruit.
Okay. If it would be planted in a regular place, then it would dry out. It wouldn't grow. Here we're saying that it doesn't have the protection. So here we're saying that it's planted in this place that it has this extra moisture, and it will be able to grow, but it's not going to give off fruit. It's only going to give a beam, but it's not going to give off fruit.
Why would a person want to create a